The observation deck aboard the Empire's flagship Virex Eternum had never felt so still. High Consul Zirek's mandibles twitched as surveillance feeds from Earth's orbit began glitching, then died out completely. One by one, every Terran transmission went dark. The Terran satellites didn't fail. They self-destructed from within. No distress, no error code, just silence. Earth had deleted every quantum key, revoked every handshake protocol, and severed centuries of interstellar diplomacy in the span of 30 seconds. A soft panic crept through the alien council as diplomats realized what had happened. Earth had shut its gates. A direct ancient channel sparked to life, one unused since the First Contact War. A human voice came through clear and low. To the Empire, we remember. You thought time would erase your crimes. You were wrong. Earth is no longer your vassal, no longer your pet project. We do not forget, we do not forgive. This is your only notice. Stay out. The gates are shut. Attempt entry, and you'll find out why we were called Deathworlders. Then silence. At first, just stillness, but moments later panic surged. Empire relay stations lit up in flame across 5 sectors. Earth's ancient co-designed tech quietly embedded. Across the galaxy now turned against its creators. No plasma blasts, no warning, just quiet, systemic destruction from within. They backdoored us, whispered Zirek, stunned. Devices melted, satellites imploded, every piece of tech with Terran roots died. And Earth said nothing more. Far beyond the dead relay lines, hidden in the shadow of a Martian moon, Commander Leah Rourke stared through her viewport at the stars. All networks severed, her XO confirmed. She nodded once. They chose to forget. Now they'll remember. A single button glowed. She pressed it. Arcs worn. Status. Active. Across. Deep space Terran launch pods hissed open like coffins reborn. And the stars began to tremble. As the galaxy reels from Earth's silence, factions within the Empire debate whether to strike or retreat. Alien species clash over fear, pride, and political power, while whispers of Earth's dark past ignite panic. Meanwhile, deep beneath Earth's surface, ancient protocols are awakening. A Terran war council prepares the next move, unveiling secrets thought buried and superweapons never meant to rise again. The Imperial Senate Convocation Chamber on Raxar IV was always bathed in sterile blue light, engineered to calm volatile species. Today, the light failed its purpose. Panic rippled like static across the chamber's tiered floors. Over 100 species, each with their own colors, temperatures, and pheromones, spoke in 100 dialects, and none of them agreed. Earth is bluffing, roared Grand Vizier Kotar of the Ikmaran. His tusks gnashed against the podium's translator node, distorting every syllable with heat. Their silence is cowardice wrapped in theater. We must strike now, while they isolate. Bluffing? Spat Ambassador Virna of the Tsari, her skin blistering crimson with rage. They obliterated 6 of our deep space relays without firing a shot. Do you know what kind of access that requires? Cyber infiltration, someone whispered. Temporal echoes, maybe, or something worse. The humans never decommissioned the black ice systems, another added, quieter. They just hid them, let them rot beneath their oceans. A collective shudder passed through the assembly. High Consul Zirek's voice finally cut through the noise. We are not here to exchange rumors. We are here because an entire Class Z, Deathworld, has just gone silent. That word. Deathworld. Officially, Earth had been downgraded centuries ago. Its climate stabilized, biosphere adjusted, its warlike population tamed through diplomacy and trade. But everyone knew that designation had been political, a way to file away something terrifying under the banner of progress. Zirek lowered his mandibles and stared into the void that was Earth's quadrant on the star map. They didn't ask for war, he said. They gave us a warning. And we would be fools to test it, added Virna. But some disagreed. They're still human, they bleed, they burn. Our fleets are vast, our weapons older than their species. They cannot stand alone. They're not alone, Werner hissed. They chose to be. Half a galaxy away, buried deep beneath the basalt crust of Iceland's northern shelf, Terran Command operated out of what was once known as Site 09A. No one outside Earth had accessed its location for over 180 years. Even most Terran civilians thought it was a geothermal plant. Inside, silence reigned, controlled, military silence. Commander Leah Rourke stood before a curved screen displaying movements across 25 Empire sectors. Red flashes appeared. Sporadically, communications outages, systems collapsing, fleets going dark. Not from Terran attack, from extraction. They were pulling Earth out of the machine. Report, she said, voice level. Deep space tethers desynced. Black ice dormant but primed. Quantum ghost relays at 94% opacity. And ARC protocols initiating. We're getting awakenings. Rourke's eyes narrowed. How many? 4 confirmed. 1 in the Kerguelen Abyss. 2 under Ares Vault. And 1 in orbit. Rourke turned toward the primary display. It showed nothing but a silhouette, a massive structure eclipsing part of Earth's moon. No emissions, no signal, just presence. We have visual, only in spectral layers, 7 through 11. It's hiding in open space. The old flagship. Rourke let out a breath. The Judicator. Silence fell over the chamber. The Judicator hadn't launched since the Cataclysm Wars. It was built in secret, a dark matter-class battleship that broke known physics in at least 2 measurable ways. It was never decommissioned. It was hidden, and now it was awake. On the edges of Gliese space, where merchant fleets floated like strings of pearls along hyperspace corridors, whispers of Earth's awakening spread faster than light. Cargo captains spoke of sensor ghosts, massive voids moving without propulsion, collapsing local gravity as they passed. Rumors spread of human scouts intercepting freighters, asking nothing, saying nothing, just watching. One transmission surfaced on the black channels, a Hralin freighter's final message, just seconds long. Unmarked vessel approaching. Non-Empire. No ID. It's human. They're not speaking. They're static. The ship was found a week later, not destroyed, not damaged, just emptied. All 23 crew gone. Every terminal fused. Every data core erased. One word was etched on the internal bulkhead in Terran code. Observe. Back on Raxar 4, the Senate was imploding. What do they want? Screamed a Zerathi delegate, banging her armored limbs into the ground. What does Earth gain by isolation, by threatening the network that feeds them? Jirek replied coldly. That's the mistake. You think they're doing this for gain. Then why? The delegate barked. Because we never stopped colonizing, Jirek said quietly. We never stopped mining, interfering, weaponizing their systems under the name of trade. They asked us to stop centuries ago. We didn't listen. A long pause, then one voice broke it. They warned us! Back inside 09A, Rourke approached the vault. Security systems hissed as the airlock opened, revealing a chamber bathed in white gold light. Inside were relics of a different age, metal sarcophagi, each one containing protocols too dangerous to be stored on servers. She placed her hand against one labeled Project Thoris, Autonomous Kinetic Orbital Delivery. Another hiss. A scan, a voice print. The case opened inside. A weapon that had never been used, a tungsten rod the size of a city bus, capable of being dropped from orbit with zero propulsion, guided only by magnetograv tech. No warhead needed, just mass and velocity, enough to erase entire cities without leaving radiation. The symbol on it was simple, Earth. No flag, just a scarred blue sphere, split in half. Do we deploy? Her XO asked. Rourke stared down at the weapon, then up at the distant stars. Not yet, she whispered, But soon they'll push, and when they do, the stars will remember why we vanished. In a darkened archive on Krylax Prime, the Empire's oldest historian unsealed a vault. It hadn't been opened in 400 years. Inside, ancient parchment, copied translations from the first expedition to Earth's pre-space ruins. The texts were warnings written not by humans, but by alien observers who once tried to enslave them and failed. The last line was burned into the scroll, underlined 3 times. If they ever shut their gates, it's already too late. Empire forces, unwilling to accept Earth's dominance, prepare a preemptive strike, but fail to grasp the scale of Terran preparation. As an elite alien task force pierces Earth's outer solar veil, they encounter a defense unlike any seen before. From gravity wells to vanishing ships, Earth's defense is not brute force, it's reality-altering precision. Meanwhile, deep inside, Mars, a weapon awakens that doesn't even need to move to kill. General Vale Kirox had never feared humans. A decorated tactician from the Ursari front, commander of 12 victorious campaigns, Vale had seen what passed for Terran power. Small, fragile ships, pulse-based weapons. They were clever, yes, unpredictable, but not dominant. Not anymore. They've turned their backs on the Empire. His adjutant Mira hissed across the command deck of the dreadnought Hymn of Sovereignty. It's not our place to debate their reasons. It's our task to enforce compliance. Vael growled softly, his breath fogging against the chilled glass of the strategic viewport. They've declared themselves outside the Galactic Order. That makes them rogue. And rogue systems, by law, were to be corrected. Around them, the 9th Galactic Enforcement Fleet, over 200 capital ships and 8,000 support vessels, waited in the Kuiper Stretch, just outside Pluto's ghost orbit. A safe staging ground. Or so they thought. They haven't responded to any more calls, Mira reported. No response to proximity hails, nothing from Lunar Relay. They're not just ignoring us, they've gone dark on every channel. Then we enter, Vael said coldly. Mira hesitated. Sir, this is Earth. I know exactly what it is, he snapped, a wounded animal trying to snarl before dying. We strike fast, decapitate their defense grid, and remind the galaxy that no one closes their doors on the Empire. He turned toward his fleet. Launch, all ships, burn toward orbit, begin descent on Terran proximity sectors. And so they came. Like an iron tide, they crossed the heliopause, and Earth waited. Within Earth's geostationary shadow, invisible to any standard detection, floated the Warden shells, silent, obsidian constructs arrayed across orbit like stars, that refused to twinkle. Designed in absolute secrecy, they didn't fire lasers or missiles, they altered physics. As the first wave of Empire ships passed Saturn, the first shell blinked open. No visual weapon, no noise, just gravity, a point mass. Distortion field, micro-singularity tech banned by every known law, triggered for 3 seconds. Not to destroy, but to shift. 8 cruisers vanished from space. Instantly, no explosion, no debris, just gone. Sensors screamed, command ships panicked. They're off the board, screamed a Ziran tactician from within the sovereignties. Command pod, where did they go? Check spatial phase, check sublight collapse zones. But the space was clean. A transmission came through, encrypted in ancient Terran burst code. Phase locked, deployed to anchor hold. Trespassers stored indefinitely, trial pending. Vael stood frozen, knuckles white. They didn't destroy. Our ships, he whispered. They stored them. Sir, more anomalies. Starboard scout wing reports time inversion. Their clocks are going backwards. Full retrograde drift. Impossible. And then a second pulse. This one didn't distort time. It erased data from 5 sectors. Every ship's logs, maps, fleet orders, comm histories blinked out. Clean wipe, not hacked, unwritten, as if they'd never existed. Across the fleet, panic bled through discipline. Fall back, someone screamed. It's not a fight, it's a trap. But before orders could be confirmed, the third wave began. Beneath Olympus Mons, buried beneath megatonnes of Martian basalt, Protocol Sigma-class AI Nimr opened its eyes for the first time in 170 years. Its core processor spun up with barely a whisper. It didn't ask questions. It received one command: engage predictive cascade. Nimr connected to nothing. Instead, it predicted. Within seconds, it projected every likely fleet trajectory, energy signature, firing pattern, and retreat strategy from the Empire fleet, over 10 trillion data points, modeled in real time using quantum foresight chains. In the hymn of sovereignty, systems began to fail randomly, or so they thought. Weapons refused to fire. Doors sealed mid-command, shields overloaded preemptively. They weren't being attacked, they were being pre-countered. It was as if Earth already knew what they were going to do. Nimr didn't fight with weapons, it fought with inevitability. In the command center of the hymn, Vael watched his offensive burn away before it ever ignited. It's not warfare, Mira breathed. It's punishment. On the edges of the system, hundreds of Empire ships now drifted, shut down by phantom pulses. No thermal trails, no engine burns, just silent collapse. Still no voice from Earth. Just one data burst, appearing on every screen simultaneously. A countdown: 72, 71, 59, 59, 71, 59, 58. What is this? Mira whispered. An ultimatum. Vael stared. Or an evacuation window. And then came the whisper across every Terran frequency. A single phrase, spoken in over 70 alien languages, repeated again and again. You have 72 hours. Leave our skies, or vanish with them. Far below, in the subterranean vaults of the Aleutian Trench, an old man stared into a screen lined with mission tags. Admiral Krylos Vex, last of the Omega signatories. He hadn't stepped above ground in 20 years, not since the Empire's first betrayal. You were right, said Rourke, standing beside him now. They always come back, he murmured, eyes never blinking. You give them peace, they taste blood. You give them time, they take ground. You offer mercy, and they build warships. He pressed a key. On the screen, something deep beneath Antarctica's crust began to shift. Pressure plates warmed. Magnetic locks disengaged. Are you opening the pole vault? Rourke asked, shocked. No, Mura replied. I'm waking the architects. She paled. But that program was mothballed after the treaty. The treaty's dead, and so are their rules. At the edge of Earth's atmosphere, 3 Empire warships broke from formation and tried to flee. They never made it. From the lower stratosphere, pillars of molten light lanced upward, not missiles, but weaponized bore spikes from the planet's own crust. Each one followed gravitational anomalies like bloodhounds, wrapping around the ships and pulling them straight down, into the ocean, where impact registered at 0 decibels. No explosion, no debris, just silence. Vael stood frozen, no orders. Left to give, ships inert, crew whispering prayers. The countdown continued. Still, Earth said nothing. Just the same pulse, over and over. Leave. And for the first time in his life, Vael Krylos felt something alien crawl up his spine. Not rage, not fear, insignificance. He turned to Mira, voice hollow. Do it. Recall the fleet. Log our surrender. Mira's hands shook. They never asked. For it. No, Vael said. That's what makes it worse. But Earth wasn't done. At the same moment, across 1,000 stars, ships bearing no flags began to activate. Hidden, forgotten, their hulls were black, unpainted, their engines ran cold. Their weapons didn't glow, they absorbed light. These were the Sentinels, Earth's true legacy, not a fleet. A shadow? And they were already moving. The gates were shut, but Earth was no longer waiting behind them. It was stepping out. As the countdown nears its end, the Empire scrambles for diplomacy, but Earth has already chosen its path. old enemies return with desperate offers, secret human colonies emerge with terrifying clarity, and the Sentinels begin their final movement. In the closing hours, the galaxy understands. Earth didn't shut its gates in fear. It did so to protect everyone.
From what comes next?
The stars tremble not from what Earth is, but from what it has become. The timer reached 000006. High Consul Zirek stared into the quantum feed, unable to breathe. The Imperial Council chamber, once a cacophony of ambition and arrogance, had fallen deathly silent. Every representative had been ordered to their station. Every military outpost had gone into blackout mode. No more rhetoric, no more denial, just the final seconds. Let's go. Resto Joel 3A. Last appeal had been sent. A unanimous transmission across every diplomatic frequency, broadcast in every language, accompanied by Imperial war codes, surrender authorizations, and formal requests. For truce. No reply. Jerome, across 5 galaxies, 10,000 species held their breath. The timer vanished, and nothing happened. No explosion, no retaliation, no extinction beam from Earth's core, just silence. But then, one more transmission. Not encrypted, not coded, just a voice, a Terran woman, soft, calm, clear. Now you understand. Site 09A, Deep Core Room. Earth Admiral Mura stood beside Commander Rourke, their faces lit by the glow of a map that now spanned entire sectors. Some blinking red, others black. They surrendered, Rourke said softly. Yes, and we didn't strike. No, Mura replied, his voice old and exhausted. We never needed to. She turned toward him, confused. Then why shut the gates? He pressed a key. The map collapsed into a starfield. But this starfield wasn't current. It was older, projected, and it was moving. Lines traced from Earth outward. Dozens, hundreds, thousands. Rourke stepped forward, eyes wide. What are these? Exiles, Mura said. Not human colonies. Human fragments sent out long ago, silent, hidden. She blinked. Are you saying they didn't stay gone? They evolved differently, strategically. Some became planets. Others became shadows. He pointed to a system marked Solus Vector. They're coming home. Outer Empire Fringe. Tessel Prime System, a mining vessel, drifted silently over a crystalline asteroid field when the first signal arrived. Not a language, an emotion, dread. Moments later, the stars darkened, not due to natural eclipse. They were blocked. A fleet appeared, not with engines or light trails, but in absence. Their ships were matte voids, bending starlight. The Sentinels, and they weren't asking for permission. Aboard the mining vessel, the crew watched a single message form on their instruments, typed character by character. Evacuate. Imperial homeworld, Raxar 4 High Consul Zirek stood before a hollow table where the first alien-human contact records once floated. But today it displayed a single artifact, the Treaty of Integration, signed 427 years ago, granting Earth access to the Empire under conditions of compliance, restraint, and control. He looked to Ambassador Virna. We broke every promise. She nodded solemnly, and they waited until they didn't. A quiet ping, a new message appeared. Source unknown. Human encryption. Pre-first contact cipher. You may open your gates again, but you may not open ours. Kepler's reach. Classified human arc, the station had been dark for centuries, embedded inside a frozen moon. Its reactors hummed awake for the first time since the second wave of expansion. Aboard it, a girl no older than 16 watched through reinforced glass as dozens of cryobays opened. Not just humans, modified humans, bio-adapted to toxic atmospheres, engineered for survival in collapsing gravitational zones, and fluent in programming languages written entirely in thought. She turned to the figure beside her. Is it time? The figure, a tall being with Terran bone structure but hexagonal pupils and photon-reactive skin, smiled. Yes, it said in perfect English. The Council of 12 Stars, Emergency Session, the ancient body of power, a collection of the 12 most advanced civilizations outside the Empire, convened for an emergency summit, not to protect Earth, not to threaten it, but to respond to a question asked in fear across every system. What is Earth now? They played intercepted footage. In a battle no one had authorized. On the fringes of the Orion Arm, Empire ships had opened fire on a suspected Terran outpost, only to find themselves swallowed mid-burst. The energy signatures matched no known defense. Ships melted into spatial folds, crews rendered weightless. Inside frozen time pockets, the final frame zoomed in on the Terran vessel, if it could still be called that. It didn't fly. It existed in one place and another. Its hull shimmered like obsidian glass, and written in raw matter across the side was a phrase in dozens of languages. "We left to protect you. You chased us. Now learn what you feared." Mars, Tharsis, Ridge, underground control. Corps Commander Orcs stood at the head of a long metallic hallway, facing rows of still-armed war constructs never released. Her XO stepped beside her. "They're asking for terms now, full compliance, reparations, even cultural guarantees." "We're not asking," Rourke said. "We gave them peace and silence. They brought fleets, and now they want to survive." She turned. Behind her, Oxworn systems flickered offline. One by one, Earth's war mechanisms were returning to sleep. "But we don't want war," she whispered. "We just don't trust them anymore." Earth orbit, cloaked sentinel vessel inside the command chamber, a figure in black watched the feeds. Thousands of them, galactic news, empire retreats, factions fracturing, and new allies, species that had once stayed quiet during the Empire's domination, now aligned under Earth's silence. Not human words, not Terran orders, just shared understanding. The Sentinel commander spoke softly to their AI. "Status?" The AI replied, "Fleet shadow complete. Galactic presence established in 3,270 sectors. Civilization stabilized. No further engagements. Earth, shielded, at peace." The commander exhaled. "Then we stay quiet." And for the first time in 1,000 years, Earth was truly alone. 10 years later, children played on the surface of Luna, beneath a dome etched with stars. No security forces, no patrols. Earth was open, but not to the Empire. Only to those who came. In peace, and even then, not without watching, a new council had formed, not of domination, but defense, not to rule, but to remember, and at its head stood not a politician nor a soldier, but a girl born inside the Kepler arc, speaking in words that echoed across space. "We are Terran. We are patient. We remember everything, and we are not your past. We are your consequence." And in the end, the galaxy accepted the truth. Earth shut its gates not to hide, not to threaten, but to mark a line the Empire had crossed, a line the stars would never forget. And so they trembled, not because Earth spoke, but because Earth finally stopped speaking, and still the galaxy obeyed.